You think if he loved you, he'd stay, right? But what if I told you that his rejection isn't proof he didn't care, but proof he cared too much to hurt you? Some men walk away not because you weren't enough, but because you were more than they were ready for. This isn't about your worth, it's about his readiness. And sometimes real love steps back so it doesn't hold you back. Let's talk about the kind of love that walks away, not to leave you, but to set you free. When a man truly loves a woman, his actions don't always look like what we expect love to look like. Sometimes it's not flowers, grand gestures, or endless texts. Sometimes it's silence, it's space, it's stepping away. And that seems counterintuitive, right? Because we've been told that love fights, love stays, love clings. But what if real love, mature love, knows when not to hold on? What if a man, aware of his own limitations, realizes that staying would do more harm than good? What if he looks at the woman he loves and says, she deserves more than I can offer right now? That's not weakness. That's not fear. That's not a lack of love. That's respect. That's real. A man who truly loves you will not want to become the reason you cry yourself to sleep every night. He won't want to be the source of your confusion or the reason you start doubting your own worth. If he senses that he can't offer the security, stability, and emotional presence that you need, love might tell him to walk away, not because he wants to hurt you, but because he doesn't want to stay and hurt you more. That's a very different kind of strength. It takes self-awareness and humility to admit, I'm not ready. And even more to walk away when your heart wants to stay. That's what real love sometimes demands. Honesty over comfort. This kind of rejection doesn't come from a place of cruelty or selfishness. It comes from a place of care. It's not the kind of rejection where someone ghosts you, uses you, or disappears without explanation. It's the kind that comes with a heavy heart and maybe even tears. A man who loves you, who truly loves you, will struggle with this decision, but he'll choose your future over his feelings. He'll choose your growth over his need for closeness. That's not the absence of love, it's the presence of maturity. Most people don't talk about this kind of love. It's not romanticized in movies, but it's deeply real. You might feel the sting of it, that ache that says, why would someone who loves me leave me? But ask yourself this, how many people have stayed in your life and loved you poorly? How many stuck around just long enough to chip away at your confidence, to confuse you, to love you inconsistently? If someone chooses to leave rather than deliver a love that is fractured and unreliable, it's a different kind of heartbreak, but it's the kind that saves you in the long run, that teaches you to stop measuring your worth by who stays and instead start valuing who shows up fully. A man who loves you enough to walk away isn't always the villain. Sometimes he's the one who clears your path to the right kind of love. That space he leaves behind, that quiet, that absence, it can be one of the most powerful mirrors you'll ever face. It reflects your resilience. It reminds you that love doesn't validate you, you validate you. It's an invitation to sit with your own emotions, your own standards, and ask, what do I really want in love? And most importantly, what am I no longer willing to accept? That rejection, painful as it may be, can become your greatest teacher. Not all lessons are delivered with kindness, but this one is cloaked in intention and care. You might never hear those words from him. You might not get the full explanation. But understand this, a man who chooses to reject you out of love is battling more than just his own emotions. He's battling his ego, his fear of loss, his instinct to cling, and still, he chooses what's best for you. That's love acting in your favor, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. That's someone saying, you deserve more than I can give, and actually meaning it. It's not performative, it's not manipulative, it's a decision made in integrity, even when it's silent. There's a maturity in love that doesn't get enough credit. It's the love that sets boundaries. The love that doesn't overpromise. The love that acknowledges its own limitations. When a man chooses to reject you, not because he doesn't love you, but because he knows he can't love you right. That's a man you'll remember. Not because he broke your heart, but because he chose to honor it. It's a quiet kind of love, a selfless kind, and sometimes the most powerful kind. Love is not just about staying, it's about showing up right. And if he can't do that, walking away might be his deepest form of love. It's natural to want closure, to want to understand, to want to label the rejection as something easier to digest. But real life doesn't always give us clean answers. What you can take away, though, is this. Love is complex, and sometimes its greatest act is knowing when not to proceed. Sometimes the person who steps away is doing the hard thing, the right thing. It doesn't make them bad, it makes them brave in a way most people aren't. In a world full of people clinging to comfort, he let you go because he loved you more than the need to keep you close. That doesn't mean you wait. That doesn't mean you pause your life for the possibility of his return. It means you take that love and you match it. You love yourself enough to keep going. You respect yourself enough to not chase. You honor your own growth the way he tried to. Because the person who truly deserves you won't walk away when things get real. They'll walk towards you. But until then, let that rejection refine your worth, not define your pain. And trust that the love that chooses you and is ready for you will never have to leave in the first place. It's easy to believe that love alone is enough, that if someone feels deeply for you, they'll stay, commit, and give you the relationship you deserve. But love without readiness is like giving someone a key to a home that isn't built yet. It's filled with emotion, but lacking structure. And that structure matters. A man might genuinely love you, but if he hasn't done the inner work, if he's still carrying trauma, fear, or emotional immaturity, he can't offer you the kind of love that lasts. His love is real, but it's not grounded. It's not supported by consistency, effort, or emotional availability. And that's why readiness is everything. Because without it, love becomes a beautiful promise with no follow through. When a man truly cares, he doesn't just think about how he feels, he considers what he can offer. Love isn't just about saying, I want you. It's about asking, am I ready to care for you in the way you deserve? That's a different level of accountability. A man can feel deep affection for you and still walk away if he realizes he can't be what you need. That's not rejection of you, it's acceptance of his current limits. He knows that loving you without the capacity to protect, respect, and build with you is selfish. It's showing up to a job you're unqualified for, hoping charm and chemistry can carry the load. And in real life, that never works for long. Readiness means emotional maturity. It means he knows how to handle conflict without shutting down. It means he's not looking for a woman to complete him, but one to complement a life he's already building. It means he's willing to prioritize you, not just when it's easy, but when it's inconvenient. Many men want the benefits of love without the responsibility. They want the connection, the intimacy, the companionship, but not the hard conversations, the compromise, the patience. If he's not ready to give you those things, no matter how much he loves you, he will fall short. And if he knows that, truly knows it, walking away becomes an act of care, not cowardice. So many women internalize a man's absence as a lack of worth, as if him leaving means you weren't lovable enough. But often it's the opposite. Your presence demands more. Your energy, your standards, your value. They require a man to rise, and not every man is ready to meet that. If he recognizes that and still walks away with grace, he's respecting your worth, not denying it. That's a rare kind of honesty. He could stay, fake it, drag you through confusion. But he doesn't. He chooses integrity. That's love in one of its most misunderstood forms. It's love with boundaries, love with awareness, love that knows its limits. We often think of love as an emotion that conquers all. But the truth is, love without preparation can actually hurt more than it heals. When someone who loves you tries to love you too soon, before they've done the work, they bring you into their chaos. They make you responsible for their growth. And that's not fair to you. You deserve someone who comes already prepared to build, not someone who hopes your love will fix them. That kind of dynamic always ends in resentment, because eventually you get tired of waiting, of hoping, of shrinking yourself to hold everything together. Readiness is not about perfection. No one has it all figured out, but it's about self-awareness and direction. It's about knowing your own patterns, your wounds, and being actively committed to healing them. A man who is ready won't project his pain onto you. He won't run every time intimacy feels scary. He won't use confusion as an excuse to hurt you. He'll communicate, he'll try, he'll grow. That's the kind of love that endures. But if he's not there yet, love can become toxic. It could blur lines, break trust, and cause more damage than distance ever could. That's why it's better for him to walk away if he's not prepared to love you properly. You might wonder, if he loves me, why can't he just try harder? But trying harder without the tools is like sailing without a compass. You end up lost, even if the intention was good. A man can't love you well if he doesn't know how to love himself first. If he's still battling self-doubt, insecurity, or emotional avoidance, he's not ready to be someone's partner. He's still figuring out how to be whole on his own. And that's okay. We all grow at different paces. But that's why love must be matched with timing. When someone's heart is full but their hands are empty, it's not your job to fill them. Sometimes the most loving thing a man can do is admit, I'm not ready. It spares you both the slow unraveling of a relationship built on potential instead of presence. Potential is a dangerous thing to invest in. It keeps you hoping, waiting, sacrificing, and all the while time passes. Your light dims. Your needs go unmet. Readiness replaces potential with action. It doesn't say one day I'll get there. It says I'm already on the path and I'm showing up now. That's the energy you deserve. That's the kind of love that doesn't just feel good in the moment, it sustains over time. You may not get closure in the way you want it. He might not explain every layer of his decision, but know this. Love that chooses to walk away rather than disappoint you repeatedly is choosing to protect your heart in the only way it knows how. It's choosing honesty over illusion. A man who says, you deserve more than I can give right now, is doing something rare. Most people fake readiness. They stay because it's easier. But someone who leaves before breaking your spirit is honoring you more than you realize. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. So don't chase someone who's not prepared to meet you at your level. Don't convince, persuade, or perform for love. The right man won't need to be talked into staying. He'll see your value and already be equipped to meet it. He'll be ready emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And if the man in front of you isn't there yet, it's not your failure, it's just the wrong time. Let him go with grace. Let him do the work. Let yourself keep rising. Because the kind of love you're looking for doesn't need convincing, it needs clarity. And clarity only comes when love and readiness walk hand in hand. We've been taught to believe that if someone leaves us, it's because we weren't enough. not pretty enough, not fun enough, not lovable enough. But the truth is, someone leaving doesn't say anything about your worth, it says everything about their capacity. A man can walk away not because you lacked value, but because you had too much of it for where he currently stands. Your standards challenged him. Your presence required more than he was ready to give. And instead of stepping up, he stepped out. That doesn't diminish you. It reveals where he is. It's not always about what you did wrong. Sometimes it's about what you refused to accept. And that refusal, that's strength. You are not meant to be for everyone. You are not supposed to fit into every man's life. Your energy, your vision, your emotional depth, it's going to be too much for the wrong person. And that's a good thing, because when someone leaves, you're not losing the right one. You're shedding someone who couldn't handle the light you bring. That's not a loss. That's alignment. You see, the more grounded you become in your self-worth, the more naturally you repel people who aren't ready for you. Letting go of someone who couldn't match your level is not rejection, it's redirection. You're being guided back to your power. You're being reminded that you are the prize. Too many women lower their standards in the hope that someone will stay. They accept inconsistency, excuses, half love just to avoid the pain of being alone. But the pain of staying with someone who doesn't value you is far worse than the temporary ache of letting go. When a man rejects you or steps away, don't rush to change yourself to become more acceptable. That's how you start losing your identity. Instead, see his departure as proof that your standards are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, filtering out what isn't aligned with your worth. If your boundaries scare him off, he was never strong enough to hold your heart. It's important to understand that rejection isn't the same thing as abandonment. Abandonment says, you don't matter. Rejection, when it comes from someone who truly loved you, often says, I'm not enough to give you what you need. That's a hard thing to accept because it still hurts. But it's also freeing because it puts the responsibility back where it belongs, on the other person's readiness, not your value. You can stop asking, what could I have done differently? And start saying, he wasn't equipped to meet me where I stood. That realization is painful, but it's also powerful. It separates your identity from someone else's actions. You are not less lovable because someone walked away. Love is not a prize to be earned through perfection. It's a connection that flows when two people are equally ready, equally willing, and equally invested. If you were showing up fully, loving authentically, and he still left, it doesn't mean you need to shrink. It means he wasn't ready to rise. That's not your fault. That's not your burden. Let him go. And more importantly, let go of the narrative that his absence equals your inadequacy. You are not too much. You are simply too much for him. And there is a difference. Some men will only recognize your worth in hindsight. They'll leave thinking they'll find something easier, something less demanding. But eventually they realize that easy doesn't mean fulfilling, that being tolerated isn't the same as being cherished, and that what you brought, your passion, your clarity, your depth, was rare, but by then you've already evolved, you've already healed, and you're no longer available for what couldn't recognize your value the first time. That's the beautiful thing about growth. It changes your standards so much that you no longer settle for what once broke you. Rejection becomes the fuel for your transformation. Every time someone leaves you for being too much, remind yourself that you're being protected. Protected from wasting time. Protected from delaying your purpose. Protected from softening yourself for someone who couldn't meet you fully. When you know your value, rejection becomes a filter, not a wound. It shows you who's real, who's ready, and who is never supposed to be part of your journey long term. The ones who stay, the ones who choose you consistently and intentionally, those are the ones who deserve your love. But you'll only recognize them when you stop seeing rejection as a reflection of your worth. Rejection teaches you to stand taller, to speak louder, to believe in your own magic more fiercely than before. Because the more you get comfortable with people leaving, the more you realize that the only approval you ever needed was your own. You no longer beg for love. You no longer perform for affection. You simply be and allow the right people to find you. That's freedom. That's self-respect. That's emotional maturity. And yes, it's a hard-earned lesson, often learned through tears, silence, and nights spent overthinking. But once you get it, it changes everything. Rejection loses its sting because it no longer threatens your identity. Your value isn't up for debate. It isn't negotiable based on how someone else sees you. Whether they adore you or walk away, it stays the same. That's the part we often forget. We tie our self-worth to someone else's ability to choose us. But that's a dangerous game because people can be blind to greatness they're not ready to receive. Just because someone didn't choose you doesn't mean you weren't a gift. Sometimes people just aren't in a place to receive you. So let them go. Don't chase after their validation. Stand in your truth and trust that your worth remains whole, even in their absence. When someone leaves, it's tempting to try to fix it, to reach out, to explain, to ask for closure. But often, the best closure is self-closure. It's choosing to stop explaining your worth to someone who didn't see it. It's choosing silence over explaining. It's choosing peace over people pleasing. You are not here to convince anyone to love you. Love should be given freely, received clearly, and held respectfully. Anything less than that is not love. It's emotional negotiation. And you weren't born to negotiate your value. You were born to live in your fullness. And whoever walks away from that, let them, because your worth was never theirs to define. It's one of the hardest truths to accept. Sometimes the man who truly loves you is the one who walks away, not because he wants to, but because he knows he has to. He sees your light, feels the depth of connection, and even imagines a future with you. But somewhere deep inside, he recognizes his inability to match your emotional maturity, your vision, or your growth. He's not walking away because he loves you any less. He's walking away because he loves you enough to not hold you back. He knows staying would mean offering you less than what you deserve. And for a man who respects you, that's a greater burden than letting you go. It's not weakness, it's restraint. It's not rejection, it's recognition. That's how deeply love can express itself, through silence, through space, through sacrifice. We often mistake leaving for not caring, but leaving can be one of the most selfless acts when it comes from a place of honesty. A man who loves you but walks away doesn't always do so because he's afraid of commitment. Sometimes it's because he knows commitment isn't just about feelings, it's about consistency, responsibility, and showing up. And if he feels he can't give you all of those things right now, leaving is his way of protecting you. You deserve more than halfway love. You deserve presence, not potential. And the man who steps away, even while his heart still beats for you, is telling you, without words, that you matter more than his comfort, more than his ego, more than his fears. This kind of man wrestles with the decision. It's not impulsive, not cold. It's heavy. It keeps him up at night. It creates a war between his heart and his reality. He might replay your memories in his mind, listen to songs that remind him of you, and still not come back. Not because he doesn't want to, but because he believes returning without readiness is disrespectful to everything you shared. He's not ghosting, he's grieving. He's not replacing you, he's reflecting. And while you may feel discarded or confused, what's really happening is that he's choosing to honor your value by stepping aside until he can meet it. Or if he never can, then he's sparing you the pain of staying stuck in a love that only exists in moments, not in the long run. Love without action becomes a prison for the heart. You feel it, you know it's there, but it can't grow, can't breathe, can't evolve. And a man who truly sees you doesn't want to trap you in that kind of love. He wants you to have more, even if it means someone else will be the one to give it to you. That's not weakness, it's bravery, because nothing hurts more than letting go of someone who feels like home. But love, real love, doesn't clip wings. It opens cages. It doesn't say, stay for me. It says, fly free, even if I'm not the one who gets to catch you. That's not a lack of love. It's the kind that puts your happiness ahead of his own desires. Sometimes he sees what you don't. He sees your trajectory, your growth, your future, and he realizes he's not ready to grow at your pace. Maybe he's still healing. Maybe he's still finding his purpose. Or maybe he's still clinging to patterns that no longer serve him. But instead of making you wait, instead of asking you to put your light on pause, he walks away. And yes, it feels cruel, it feels sudden, but it's often the most honest move he can make, because when a man loves you with awareness, he knows that timing matters, and love given at the wrong time can break even the strongest connection. So he lets go, not because the love wasn't real, but because it was. In the quiet moments, you might replay the way he looked at you, the words he said, the plans you made. It's easy to question it all. Was it real? Did he mean it? How could he feel all of that and still walk away? The answer is in the very pain you're feeling. You feel it so deeply because it was real. And that's what makes it hard. Love doesn't always end with a betrayal. Sometimes it ends with reverence, with tears shed privately, with messages typed but never sent, with him standing in his room, staring at your photo, wishing things were different, but knowing in the deepest part of himself that the most loving thing he can do is not come back until he can offer you more than words. And that silence, that absence, it's his way of creating space for you to find what he couldn't give. It's his way of saying, don't wait for me. Don't pause your life hoping I'll figure it out. He doesn't want to be the reason you doubt yourself. He doesn't want to be the chapter that keeps you from writing the rest of your story. So he disappears, not to hurt you, but to protect you from the version of him that isn't finished yet. He's not avoiding you. He's avoiding the damage he knows he might cause if he stayed. That kind of restraint comes from love, not fear. You may never hear those words from him. He might not say, I left because I loved you. He may not have the language or the emotional depth to articulate that, but his actions will echo that truth. The way he respected your space, the way he didn't string you along, the way he made a clean break instead of creating more confusion. Look closely. That's where the love lives. Not in the promises he couldn't keep, but in the chaos he chose not to create. He knew that staying would hurt you more than leaving. And that's a level of love that many never recognize until it's gone. Letting go doesn't mean you stop loving him. It means you stop loving yourself more. You honor the love you shared, but you choose yourself. You don't wait in emotional limbo. You don't cling to what ifs. You rise, you grow, you heal. You say, if he ever becomes the man who can match my heart, he'll find me thriving, not waiting. Because the truth is, love is not just about connection, it's about alignment. And sometimes the most aligned thing a man can do is step back so that you can move forward. That doesn't mean the love failed. It means the love was honest. One day you might look back and realize that his leaving was the greatest gift he could have given you. Not because it didn't hurt, but because it forced you to step into your power, to stop begging for crumbs, to stop hoping someone else would complete you. His exit made space for your evolution, and as painful as it was, you emerged stronger, wiser, more grounded in your worth, and in time, the right man, the one who's ready, whole, and capable, will come. Not to fix what's broken, but to build on the strength you already found within yourself.